This is George Dionne of the Rock is George podcast, and this is a KNAC.com exclusive interview with vocalist John Bush of Category 7. If I knew absolutely nothing about Category 7, how would you describe the band's music to me?
Ooh, good question. Metal. Well, I would say it's definitely heavy, riff mania for all the members and the rhythm section, as well as the guitar players. However, song structure, you have the riff mania, but you also have the songs to back up instead of it just being a bunch of mishmash going all over the place. So I would say very, very heavy, but really cool song structure.
I would say this project, this supergroup, if you will, took a lot of people by surprise. You, Phil Demmel, Mike Orlando, Jack Gibson, Jason Bittner. Whose idea was it to assemble the troops?
It was Mike and Phil and Jason's, I believe. They had a few beers and were doing some jamming a while back, and they had this idea of this group. It's cool pairing Phil and Mike up together because they're really talented guys and they're awesome guitar players. So it was cool having those guys kind of have this project, and then we're able to kind of expand on it from there. So, again, real talented players, awesome style and ability. But, again, back to the idea of being able to have some really cool songs to back it up.
Did it take a little bit of convincing to get you involved? I don't think you typically do these side projects.
Yeah, somebody else was bringing that up to me. And then it made me think that I'm sounding like I'm always playing hard to get, which I'm not really doing. Perhaps it comes off like that. Again, back what I've said to others is that I just want to make sure it's something that I really can believe in and be sincere of if I'm definitely contributing to it. Not that I'm coming from a place of, prove it to me. It's not bad. It's more about just, hey, is this something I can believe in and can I contribute to? And if I can do that, then I'm down. But yeah, it's not something that I normally do because I don't know. I just think it was just timing is really a pivotal thing. It's just making sure that all the stars kind of align at the right time, and this did. And like I said, I felt like I could contribute to it, and the music and the songs were pretty undeniable because these guys are awesome players.
Was this something that was conceived and put into motion during the lockdowns?
I can't answer that. That's not. Perhaps it did from the origins of those guys. I got it about a year back. That's when Phil proposed the idea to me. It's funny. I was telling other people that I was doing kind of two things simultaneously, and they were kind of coinciding. And the other thing is this kind of blues, country, rock and roll thing that I have with a buddy of mine named Tara Novick, who ironically enough was the guy who was recording all the demos I did for Category 7. So he has a home studio, and he was wanting to do something with me, again, very, very different from anything that I've ever done as far as rock and roll goes. His is like I said, is kind of this blues country thing, and we have our wives work together, and he was always saying, "Dude, let's do something," and I was like, "Yeah, okay, send me something." And then he sent me some stuff, and I was like, "Wow, this is really cool and very different for me." So one day I would go to his house, and he would record me doing a Category 7 demo, and then the next couple of days I go to his house, and he was recording me doing this electric spaghetti project, and it was really fun. Over the course of about a year, I was part of writing about 20 different songs or so, and really very different from one another. So it was real helpful as far as honing in some writing skills and lyric skills, and both were real fun and different, at the end, I think they were both great. I want to one day release that as a record too. It's just finding the right home for it. But we've done a couple shows, and it's really fun as well. So it was real helpful to me to kind of work on these two things at the same time. And his background is like rockabilly, so I would go, okay, I'm going to do this Category 7 song, and he'd be like, dude, this is amazing, and he just doesn't really know that world at all, the metal world. So it was really kind of cool to work with him because it was so coming from such a different place. And in the end, I think both projects were real helpful to me, like I said, as a writer.
Category 7's self-titled debut comes out on July 26th through Metal Blade Records. Were you guys ever able to get in the room to record parts of this album, or was everything back and forth through the computer?
It was pretty much all done on their own time individually. It's kind of not the normal way to conduct a band, although these days it probably is. You know, better, worse, it's just circumstantial. It's just the way things are sometimes done these days. People are in different cities. Hell, you can have bands on different continents and still do it because of this internet world and the digital. One of the better aspects of technology, let's say that, in my opinion. But yeah, it's, again, it's not the standard way of like hashing it out in a rehearsal studio. Armored Saint doesn't even really do that these days either, because a lot of it's done, even though me and Joey, well, I usually go to Joey's house once we have ideas down, and then we'll do it out of his same kind of scenario in his attic. Mike's was in his basement, still at the house. Luckily, Pro Tools and these things that technology provides it enables us to do things in a real kind of modern way, but still be productive. With Armored Saint, we actually want to get together in a rehearsal setting and kind of do it the old school way. It's just about timing. Everybody's working and has different things going on, so it's sometimes hard for scheduling. For Category 7, Phil and Jack live in the Bay Area, and Mike's in New York, and I'm in LA, and Jason's like upstate New York. So you do what you got to do, but in the end, I think the key is just how does it come out sounding, and does it sound sincere, and does it sound natural, and does it sound like a band? And it really does. So in the end, that's all that matters.
Let's talk a little bit about a couple of songs you've released ahead of the album. I know you don't like to talk too much about what a song's about, but can you give me a little insight into In Stitches?
Yeah, Stitches was, I think, the first song that I actually ended up doing a demo for. It's really heavy, real powerful stuff. Cool chorus, simple. Which is like there's almost like two choruses, because there's the choruses with the lines, and then there's the title that comes out. So it's like a secondary part of the chorus. I read this article in the paper about this homeless lady unhoused individual whose name was Stitches, and just pregnant, living on the streets. And I just was like, man, what a life that is. So, hard. And it just kind of inspired me to kind of run with it. It's not about her per se, but it's about maybe the lifestyle of living that way. I have this kind of like mixed emotion where my wife's office is right on Sunset Boulevard. We've dealt with a lot of unhoused individuals there, and sometimes it pisses me off and it makes me very angry, especially if I'm picking up human feces, which I've done numerous times, and to clean up our place. And it can be real frustrating, man. It's humbling and can be demoralizing to do that. And I'm sure it's worse for those people that have to do it on the streets. But this still makes me frustrated. There was a big story in Southern California about the recording studio Sunset Sound, which was surrounded by encampments, and it was literally like 100 yards from where our office is. And this is a place that where it's crazy because Sunset Sound was a place where the first Van Halen record was recorded, and a lot of different places, a lot of different records were made, and it can be very frustrating a lot for the individuals who have that studio. And so it was a trip to go through that and experience that for what was going on in this particular area. And I was compassionate for the people that are in the studio, and they had people going in, breaking in at night, and defecating on drum sets and stuff. So it was a drag, But at the same time, you're trying to feel compassionate for the people that live there. So all this was a motivation for this particular song, I think, and it ended up being real powerful, being the first track on the record, and that ended up being the first video. It was kind of an afterthought for the video, as far as the videos go. We made 4 and then ended up doing this one at the end, and it was cool because it's all white background, but you could and everyone's kind of almost in a circle. But the way the guy filmed it was really amazing, and it became like the first song that everybody was exposed to in the world of heavy metal in Category 7.
I feel like the whole album is a social commentary going through the tracks in particular. It's sort of a observation of the world around you.
Again, it's hard not to wake up every day and be exposed to what's happening, on personal levels. Like I think the whole thing with Stitches was more personal. Like I literally would deal with that every day. And it's funny because Sunset, Boulevard is like such an important part of Hollywood's makeup, and you don't want to see it look like crap. Tourists come from all over the world, and this is not what you want to provide them as a city of Los Angeles. That being said, it is a reality. So you're not trying to paint over it, but at the same time, take care of it, the city, and take care of these people. It's a real difficult scenario, and I think a lot of people struggle with it. And LA's not an exception to the rule. San Francisco's having big problems. Seattle, Portland, it's everywhere. It's Orange County, you name it. So, it's when I wake up every day and look at the news and the world around me. Some stuff is personal, some stuff is social commentary, some stuff is the things that you're exposed to. I mean, every day is you could probably write 10 records of what's going on in the world today. I mean, today is the presidential debate, so it should be entertaining, probably, to say the least.
Indeed. Why don't you tell me about your other single that you have out now, Exhausted?
Exhausted was different. It's not as much. This one's a little more personal, and I don't want to undermine what people go through with real insomnia, because I don't really have that. There's times when I wake up in the middle of the night and I gotta piss because I'm 60, and then sometimes it's a struggle to go back to sleep, and you're sitting there just kind of hoping I don't wake my wife up by rolling around. And we have a little dog over the last 4 years that lives with us, and we've probably trained her in the worst of ways, because now she sleeps in our bed and sometimes in between me and my wife. And it's like, you don't want to move her because you feel bad. And then she'll kind of growl at you. And it's like, wait a minute, you're a dog. I got to move, man. Come on. But anyway, so I think it's just kind of motivated me to write something along the lines of what it's like to deal with insomnia, and that kind of, I ran with it, and I like the title. It was really cool. Big chorus, great riff, cool video, real different from the first one, because it's we've got some green screen stuff going on, and but it was a powerful song, a little different than in Stitches. Still very heavy, but yet a little bit more melodic, I think.
You mentioned the word heavy several times throughout the interview so far, and I don't think you can emphasize that enough. The drums are just devastatingly heavy. The riffs are devastatingly heavy. It's got to be. I mean, Armored Saint's a heavy band, but Category 7 is a different level.
Yeah, again, it's a lot of riffs, a lot of incredible rhythms going on. Jason and Jack played their ass off, and Mike and Phil are super talented. I think the key is to try to make music like that, but still find a place for vocals. That's actually quite a challenge. You can make pummeling music, And then where do you fit the vocals in? Do you fit it on top of it? Do you fit it in holes? Where do you go when it's time to come for the singing? And luckily enough, I think the key to this album is killer riffs, but space enough where the vocals can fit. Because otherwise I'd be like, what do I do with this? You want to add to the power of the music vocally. And I think I did that, but sometimes that would be a challenge, and uh, finding the space to do it. I was talking to another journalist earlier today about space, how important space is in everything in life, and I think we were able to accomplish that.
Were you the one that brought the album to Metal Blade? Armored Saint's been on the label for years.
You know, probably a little bit, and maybe at the same time not. I mean, it makes sense to make a record with Metal Blade for me because I love Brian, I love Tracy. They've done so much for my career, so it's a no-brainer to be at the label, because of the history there. I probably, for a moment, was a little bit scared because I wasn't sure that, you know, maybe they could see things for the different bands that it is. I think that was maybe something in the back of my mind, is making sure that, they don't kind of cross over and interrupt one another, that being Category 7 and Armored Saint. And that's something that I was probably slightly concerned about. But in the end, here was the record, and I believe that whatever Tracy and Brian and the staff internationally, in Europe and in America, will be able to do with it, and they'll do the right thing by it. So, again, I never questioned being on Metal Blade ever, because that's home for me, and it always has been. And it's just making sure that, again, those two things don't kind of overlap and hurt one another.
Overall, response to what's been put out so far as music is concerned has been overwhelmingly positive, and you got a great endorsement by James Hetfield of Metallica. He said that you guys really surprised them and made him smile. And of course, James very early on Metal Blade. So that's got a nice little feather in your cap to get that endorsement, I think.
Without a doubt, it's James Hetfield, and he's the king. So for him to say that, and it seemed like it was coming from a real sincere place, is the biggest endorsement you can get. And I was smiling back at him, having him say that. He probably is pretty specific with stuff that he likes, and for him to dig it is, like I said, yeah, you can't get a bigger endorsement than that. So, again, I think when it comes to music and any artistic thing, you make it, and then you kind of have to let it go, and just hope people like it. Obviously, you're not making it. You should make it for yourself, and then in the end, you're also making it for the public. It's a little scary because once you release it, it's not your baby anymore. It's everybody else's thing that they can say what they feel about it, and it's. As we know, in the world of the digital world and the internet, everybody's a reporter, not just you. Everybody is. So, it's everybody has their opinion, and they're all entitled to it. And you can't get caught up in it too much, pro or con, really, because if you sit there and read 20 endorsing positive things about your record, you can get a little full of yourself, and you got to just take it for what it is, and just know that in your soul that you made something that you really can stand by, and that's the most important thing.
So with everybody involved in Category 7 having other bands, what are the chances of live performances down the road?
Yeah, I think that obviously we would like to play these songs live and do some shows. We didn't, I mean, we're all musicians, and playing live is something everybody does in their own bands. It's about navigating the schedules, which is something that Larry Mazer, our manager, is going to probably be going, oh no, how do I do this? And probably create some frustration for him. But yeah, of course we want to play. It'd be, these songs they'll sound killer live. So it would be, it's a natural thing to obviously take it on the road or at least play some shows. I think it's just what I've been saying to people. To me, it's strategic, playing the right shows. I think that's more important than going out and just like slugging it out because everybody's got their other things. Everybody's kind of used to traveling and playing in a certain setting that's comfortable. So I don't think anybody is looking to like get in the van and, do 20 dates in a row and, play clubs in front of 100 people. If we could avoid that, I would like to. That being said, I don't expect it, that we have to go out and be supporting somebody on arenas right away. It's just, we'll figure it out. But I think the public and once the record's actually out, that will kind of determine a lot.
In addition to Category 7's music currently coming out, you have a new single out with Armored Saint, One Chain, Don't Make No Prison, which is a cover of the Four Tops song. Some people might be surprised you covered this tune, not me, because I loved your version of Ball of Confusion by the Temptations, and this was spot on.
Yeah, I guess I like the Temptations and the Four Tops. Yeah, it was cool. It's right in the wheelhouse for Saint. I've always kind of emulated a lot of old school R&B singers. So when I was listening to metal, I was also listening to, the Commodores and Stevie Wonder and Earth, Wind and Fire is one of my favorite bands of all time. Maurice White, Philip Bailey, those guys are incredible singers. So, I emulate a lot of my style after those people as much as Halford and Dio and, Bruce Dickinson and, Phil Lynott. So those people are important to me as singers and performers. And Joey had the idea and it's like, let's do it. It'll be fun. We're all wearing suits, looking dapper, kind of little old school nod to those groups, the bands and the artists of the 60s and 70s and that genre. So I think it feels right in the wheelhouse, like I said. It's fun. It was a fun thing to do too. It kind of alleviates a little pressure for having a new song, a new original song. It kind of buys us a little time, if you will. I love Punch in the Sky and When Hands Down in particular. I think those two records were really awesome. I think it really elevated Armored Saint to a whole nother level. And we're almost bigger than we've ever been at this point. So it's good to say that. And I think we're on a roll. So, we'll see. I mean, hopefully people have an open mind and see this and go, cool, instead of going, this is not metal. What is this? I don't know.
Well, you say kind of your biggest time for Armored Saint. Your tour schedule certainly shows that. You just finished up a huge run through the United States, and now you're heading over to Europe. Probably the biggest touring schedule to go along with sort of this success recent success that's showing up.
Yeah, we're excited to go to Europe because we haven't been there since 19. The last tour we did was with Metal Church, actually, and when Mike Howe was still alive, and Mike was an awesome singer. And, it's a tragedy what happened with him, but we had some great shows with him back in 19 in Metal Church, and we have some great memories of that. And that was the last time we were there. So it's exciting to go back to Europe. We're playing a combination of some headlining shows and festivals. We just got information today about the Wacken show. We were originally supposed to schedule to go on at noon, day one, and now we got pushed down into 3:30. So I'm happy about that because noon it's a little rough for singing and metal in general. So we got a little better slot. It might be a little hotter, but it'll be a great position for us. So I'm happy about that. It's Wacken, man. It's a massive show, and Brutal Assault is another festival we've done before, and we're playing at night. We were originally in the daytime, so we've got some good slots. And we're playing Britain. Always happy to be in the UK and do some shows there. And it's just Europe. It's a home of metal, and we're excited to be there. So yeah, it's great. I think Armored Saint. I always say that other than this maybe period of time between like 1983 to 84 when we were coming out, we're maybe bigger than we've ever been. We sold a ton of merchandise on this last Queensryche run we did. And it's great to sell records. It's like we bring vinyl and CDs out there, and we ended up selling a lot of albums, which is really cool. It's great.
Well, John, those are all the questions I have for you today. The new Category 7 album, self-titled, comes out on July 26th, Metal Blade Records. fantastic album. Great job with it. And I hope to see you live with it someday.
Thanks, George. Thanks for all the great questions and good chat, just good conversation. So I really appreciate that. We'll hopefully see you on the road here one day soon. Where are you at?
I'm in Massachusetts.
Oh, great. Well, we had an awesome show at the Palladium there in Worcester just a couple month back or so. So
I had tickets, but I got COVID and I missed out for the count.
Well, don't bring your COVID along with you, but I'm glad you're healed from that.
I saved you from it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right,
brother.
John, I'm sure we'll talk again in the future, and thank you for your compliments, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you, brother. See you soon. Have a good day.